Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Coaches Preview Show. I'm joined by two good friends of mine, Josh Goodwin and Mariska Harris, the coaches of the Lady Spartans of Summit and the Ravenwood Lady Raptors for this week's game of the week. How are you guys doing?
Doing good.
Doing very good, thank you.
Excellent. Let's talk right now what's happening in the Summit and Ravenwood worlds. We'll start with you, Coach Harris. What happened over the Christmas holiday break? What tournaments did you play in? How did you guys perform?
Before Christmas, we hosted like a classic at our place, a Friday, Saturday Christmas classic. We played a team out of Alabama, and we played them on Saturday. And Friday night we played Albertville out of Alabama, and Saturday we played Clarksville Northeast. We won both those games. Played pretty well going into Christmas break, and then after it was the first time that we've ever gone to a tournament out of town. We went to Sevier County High School and played there. It was a 4-day tournament, 16 teams, and I was really proud of our girls. That was kind of the best we've played so far this year, especially through a lot of adversity. I had 5 girls go down with either food poisoning or the stomach bug, not still quite sure what, but I was in the hospital with one of the girls all night. And then we stayed in a cabin, so just trying to keep the ones that were sick quarantined away from everybody and everybody else, the healthy ones together, and Lysol in the entire cabin. So it was quite the adventure, but I was very proud of our girls. We played some tough teams up there. It was a really good challenge for us to kind of see where we can be and, how we can handle playing 4 games in 4 days.
Well, I know that the competition up there was good. It was the Winterfest shootout, is that correct?
It was.
You ended up placing second in that, losing the championship round to Farragut beat CAK, I think, the game before, right? So, or during that run.
Yes.
So you had some good quality wins up there. Kids played well despite the fact that you're fighting the bug, the sickness, and all that around your girls. So, and then maybe a little different take on things. What did you guys do over holiday break?
Well, we played a classic as well right before. The Friday and Saturday we got out of school. We went to Lawrence County, played 2 games there, and then we don't play after break. Kind of a different philosophy. Give the kids a chance to go home and have about a week with their family where they can travel. And we come back and we practice twice a day for that week leading up to district play.
Well, I've always, as a former coach too, 2 different schools of philosophy going into the breaks. If your team is performing well and you can continue holding that throughout, it could pay off big time. If your team is not performing well and you happen to flip it and win something during that time frame, it could change the complexion. The one I was always scared of, that you're playing mediocre, better than mediocre, good, go into that and lose a couple of games, and all of a sudden it blows up the second half of your season. So there's several different schools of thought there. I tend to be the more conservative one. I try to get one maybe before, practice throughout, try to enjoy that time, that downtime. But anyway, you had a successful run, so things worked out well for you, and we'll be interesting to see how that plays out for the second half of the season. Now, let's talk real quick what's happened thus far. Lady Spartans sitting at 7-9, 2-2 overall in the district. You're currently sitting in 4th place. There's a 3-way tie between you, Centennial, and Franklin. You hold that middle spot after losing to Centennial. Now, let's talk about the district and the parity of it. How difficult is it? Let's talk about that first. How difficult is it to win in the district right now?
It's tough. Dixon's very good. Returned a lot of their players from last year that went to the state tournament. And then after that, the coaches are so good in the district, top to bottom, that everybody's going to have a great scout leading up to that game. So there's no secrets. It's really, whose players are going to step up and make plays and make shots. And it's tough every night. It comes down to a couple possessions, following a couple keys of the game plan, and who's going to execute better at the end of the night.
I agree with them 100%. I think, right now 2 through 7, you got to come play every night. There's definitely no gimme games. And like he said, the coaches in our district they prepare very well every night against you and who you're playing, and bring out a good game plan. And it comes down to execution and what team comes out with more focus and preparation.
Well, we had Independence and Brentwood on last week, and we were talking about the Dixon. Lily Carter's a special talent. Once in a lifetime girl that comes through, Vanderbilt signee, and the second best player on that team, the name escapes me, the point of the guard.
Emily Beard.
Yeah, she's good enough to play for anybody and start and be an effective player. So right now they have a good run. That soon will come to an end for them. But at this point in time, they're sitting at 5-0 in first place. But like you mentioned, second through seventh place is an absolute dogfight, and specifically second through fifth right now could go any direction. And it's very important going into tournament time to have yourself seated in those positions because anything can happen in a tournament. So let's discuss your team right now, the current state. Let's get some player spotlights. Let's start with you, Coach Harris.
Our leading scorer returner is Kira Downey. She's a sophomore. She's been playing really consistent here lately, the last 5 or 6 games, and just trying to get her to continue that regardless of how she's shooting or how she's scoring, playing on both ends. I've got a good solid base with 5 seniors this year that have some decent experience, with Bailey Swayze and Megan Hawken in the post. And then in the guards, we have Carly Cantrell that comes off the bench, Emily Gleason that kind of can play that 3-4 position for us, that comes off the bench and gives us a spark. And then Emmy Allen, who's returning for us at the point guard position. She's had a really good year this year as far as she's being very coachable, she's very confident, and those are good things that I like to see. But again, the consistency is the biggest thing, carrying that over day to day in practice and in games.
Now, Downey's a very good talent, and at this point in time, can you speak on behalf of possibility of any recruiting happening? I know it's a sophomore year, it's kind of early, but this is the time that things start to be coming to the forefront. So is there anything that you can speak on behalf of that?
I mean, I definitely think she's a special player. She's got a lot of special talents, especially in transition scoring and attacking the basket. She's really been working on her outside game and shooting a pretty good percentage actually for the year from there. Yes, the recruiting process is definitely picking up for her. I'm surprised it hasn't picked up more, but hopefully this end of season and especially this summer going into her junior year as far as travel ball, it'll really pick up for her.
Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer that she's going to be at a minimum a mid-major guard easily. But time will tell. We'll see how that goes. All right, on the Summit side, Old Sparty, Lady Spartans.
We return our leading scorer as well, Zakaria Esmond. She's doing a really good job being active and more so on the glass than in a scoring aspect. Against Brentwood in a big game for us. She had 15 rebounds. So being able to control the glass and really control the pace of the game on offense and defense is big for her. And we return a lot. We only have one senior, but everybody that plays for us has a lot of experience. We've got 3 juniors that have started their entire career. So they come in with 3 years experience. It's not normal for a junior. Olivia Colson did a great job for us last Friday. Helping us get another big win. She had 18 points and just does a good job controlling the inside. And then we have a freshman who stepped up and done really, really well. Avery Davis is probably one of the best defenders I've seen on the ball and off the ball.
Well, that'll be an interesting matchup between her and Downey. Obviously, that's going to be a fun matchup to watch. Youth, future, programs are growing. You've already improved on your win totals going on. Fantastic job you both have done. Let's talk real quick about culture. When you come into the school building, okay, Summit, let's talk about Summit first. First time they, I hate to hark back to football season, but first time, there's a lot of firsts happening this year. First home win in school history, first region win in school history. They came a game away from playoffs. People are excited to get to you. You guys and the boys team both first time beating Brentwood as a school. I mean, it seems to me that Summit's on the up and up. Things are looking good. Speak about the culture real quick.
Well, some things are starting to turn, and it's good to be able to talk about that, and we're proud of those accomplishments. But at the same time, to change the culture and continue to build that culture, we want those to become normal. We don't want to have to say, every time, every year we're doing something for the first time.
Right.
We want to build that culture to the point where it's an expectation. And the kids in every sport are starting to buy into it, and there's an expectation to win and work your hardest and not just be okay with being mediocre.
Absolutely. And Ravenwood, I mean, what a fall that has happened thus far, winning the 6A football title. Speak about your culture, too, going in on the girls' side as well as the boys' side in basketball, period. When you go into the Battle of the Woods, what kind of culture that is. I mean, it's just a phenomenal thing happening at Ravenwood right now.
It is, it's fun. We're still excited for our football team for the phenomenal year that they had, and we're just trying to carry that over, that excitement over into basketball season, and just get the community and the school excited about both the boys and the girls basketball, and come into the games and the support. And it like Josh said, it's an everyday challenge, trying to create that culture of going hard every day, winning, and having that mindset of to be one of the top contenders in the district.
So with that being said, things going well, what are some growing pains, some things that you've experienced this year with your teams that is part of that learning process? What are some growing pains that you may have experienced?
It seems to be a consistent theme for us. We're very young, it seems like, every year. We're starting a freshman, we're starting two sophomores. So trying to get them into the concept of believing in themselves and believing they belong. But once they get that, it's meshing the teams together. And we're kind of getting to the point now where we have some consistency with our roster and who's playing. And so that it's been a growing pain, but it's been one of those things that you like to see that they're overcoming that.
Of course, anytime you see youth, that consistency always comes up. Coach Harris?
I definitely think some of the challenges are still, that senior class. I'm their third coach that they've had, and I think they're doing a really good job of buying in and kind of learning my philosophy and learning my system. But it just still takes time, that day to day. The younger kids, they don't know anything different. They don't know, a different coach. So for them, it's easier to kind of buy in and trust what our coaching staff is telling them. So I think that's one of the biggest things. And like you said, consistency, going hard every day and bringing out that focus. I think, with basketball being one of the longest seasons compared to other sports, just getting the girls, at 14, 15, 16, 17 years old to come into practice every day and be focused and be mentally prepared for games each week.
So let's talk about tonight. What's going to happen tonight? Let's start offensively. What can we expect to see offensively without giving too much of the game plan away? But by this time, we've watched enough film, I'm sure, that we know what's going to happen. So what can we look forward to tonight offensively from Ravenwood?
Hopefully putting the ball in the basket. I think that we both would
That's
say that's a
game.
struggle with both of our
teams. That's a good place to start.
At times is, hitting shots, being confident in our shooting, controlling the boards on the offensive end. I think that's one thing we're constantly talking about is, we're not always going to have great shooting nights, but we've got to be able to crash the boards. And so offensively, being confident is the biggest thing, and knocking down the easy shots.
Now, do you want an up-tempo game, or are you more of a half-court philosophy? Give us a little insight there. I mean, do you like to get in that open court, like to get things rolling, or you rather settle it down and make good passes and do the things in a half-court set?
Well, definitely we like to, especially for Kira, that's her game, transition, getting her, transition game going and trying to be up-tempo, because with losing Alexis last year, our big post player, we don't have a big post presence inside. So, yeah, definitely trying to be a little more up-tempo this year compared to last year.
All right, Summit.
You're probably going to hear a repeat of the same thing. I mean,
put the ball in the hole,
yeah,
obviously. Let's get
we want
past
to make
that.
shots. Just valuing possession, being patient enough. I mean, we'd like to play fast and get layups if we can, but at the same time, when we settle down in the half court, we've got to be patient enough to value possession of the ball every single time.
And you know what? It's funny because I was down there the other day watching you guys practice, and you were talking about that, and that youth you can see coming out, because every pass, it kills us as me as a former coach, you guys as active coaches, of every possession, every time they touch the ball, every single action they do, they need to value everything to it. And sometimes we get a little lazy and they don't think it's anything to it. Next thing you know, it leads to a turnover, which leads to a bucket that could possibly change the outcome of the game. And they don't understand that. And it's hard for that youth to grasp that.
Well, they don't understand that a turnover in the first quarter is just as bad as a turnover in the fourth quarter. Everybody wants to win in the fourth quarter, but if you take care of the first three quarters, you don't have to worry about it.
And I don't think the referees understand a bad call in the first quarter is just as bad as the one at the last
You have
second.
to talk to somebody in the other room about that.
Mariska Harris, Josh Goodwin, Summit versus Ravenwood tonight. Lady Spartans versus the Lady Raptors. It's going to be a lot of fun. When we come back from break, we'll speak on the guys' side of tonight's action. Stay with us. Hello and welcome back to this week's Coaches Preview Show. Now we're looking at the guys' side of tonight's matchup of the Summit Spartans versus the Ravenwood Raptors. Chris Ladd, Patrick Whitlock. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. I'm going to throw some same questions at you like I did the ladies' side of things. Christmas tournaments. Give us a little update where Ravenwood, what they did over Christmas, over the holiday breaks.
Well, right before Christmas, we hosted our Ravenwood Holiday Tournament, and we got to play McGavick on Friday night and beat them. And then we played a team out of Alabama called Central Park Christian, which when I scheduled that game, I did not realize it was a prep school. So they rolled in with 7 guys. They were all very talented, and we got beat by 8. So
There's such thing as a good loss. Maybe that was it, right?
there's never a good loss,
Right.
but we competed. And then after break, we went to the Hickman County Tournament and beat Waverly, BGA, and Marshall County, and we're fortunate enough to win that. So it was a good break for us. Getting the football guys so late, trying to get them all integrated. It was productive.
Well, I got to see you at the Above the Rim tournament. Waverly, pretty decent AA team, but Marshall County, an above average, very athletic AA team. Those are 2 quality wins in that tournament format. Obviously, Elon Smallwood got the MVP of the tournament, difference maker when he's out there, played well. I thought that you guys played extremely well in that break, in that tournament specifically. Coming out of that tournament, did you feel the same way coming out of that? I mean, that going into the second half of the season, that things were going your way?
I mean, I felt fortunate that we won 3 games. As a coach, you always think you can play a little bit better. We played well enough to win. Some of those teams presented some, interesting matchups for us, and the win over BGA is fun. Anytime you can beat a private school, we'll take that as well.
All day long.
Had to get that in.
All day long. Coach Ladd, what did you guys do over the holiday break?
We just took it easy. We, just like our girls team, we went down to a Christmas Classic when we got out of school on that Friday, played 2 games, and gave the kids about a week off. Coach Whitlock has a lot of football guys that benefit from him playing a lot over the break. We had already played about 13 games at that point, and so we took about a week off and then came in and practiced had about 6 days worth of practice before we got back at it this past week.
Once again, it goes back to those 3 philosophies that we spoke of. You could hurt yourself, you could help yourself, or you can be conservative and see what happens. And anyway, you guys are playing great right now. Summit sitting at 13-3, 2-2, and Ravenwood's 10-7, 2-2 right now. We talked off the air about the district. Let's look at the district rundown real quick. We'll speak on it. Independent sitting right now 16-1, 5-0, sitting 3rd in Mid-State, playing really well. Centennial 11-5, 3-1, playing also good basketball. Ravenwood currently sitting in 3rd at 2-2. Summit 2-2 as well. So this is basically for that 3rd and 4th slot between you guys tonight. Brentwood at 1-3 in 5th place. Franklin at 1-3. They hold the tiebreaker over Franklin after beating Franklin. And Dixon County right now sitting at 1-4. And as you know, even though they're sitting in last place, Dixon can beat anybody any given night. So
True.
let's talk about those spots right now. Dogfight. What are we going to have to do? How hard is it to get a district win?
I mean, it's difficult. I think we all have tunnel vision. The next game is obviously the most important. We went down to Dixon last Friday night to play in the airplane hangar and got that road trip out of the way, so we're glad we don't have to go back there. Played really well and felt very fortunate. But, every game is a dogfight. So, we got a lot of good coaches in this district, and we all know each other well, and it really is going to come down to a lot of nights 1 or 2 plays. So you sit around as a coach, you kind of obsess about that a little bit and prepare for those scenarios, but you can never be too prepared.
Right. Coach Ladd?
Yeah, I would agree. The other thing about our district is our players know each other so well. A lot of them play together in the summers, and if you watch the games, you can see them talking to each other and having a little chuckle here and there. And so players are familiar with each other, coaches familiar with each other, and everybody does a great job. So it's going to be interesting to see this year how it all pans out.
Of course, we've got 2 additional coaches to the district new this year. Pete Froden at Centennial, who's obviously turned the Centennial program. I mean, they're doing well right now. Coach Shirley right now at Brentwood, understanding the ebb and flow of public schools and how things could go. Sometimes they're up, sometimes they're down. They're 5-13, but I would never count them out because, when it comes district time, you throw all records out the table. How well Coach Whitlock, when you play Battle of the Woods and how when you guys play the border battle between Indy, you can throw records completely out the door. Anything can possibly happen. You're going to get the best team, or excuse me, the best game out of each team that given night, regardless of what it is. So it's going to be interesting. I look forward to watching the run here as we come down to the district wire, or district tournament that comes down to the wire. Now, let's talk about your player spotlights. Coach Whitlock, let's talk about who's playing really well for you right now.
Well, Elon Smallwood has kind of carried us. Case Bolden is having a really nice season. Zach Tudine, those are three non-football guys that kind of have their legs under them before the other guys do. So throughout the beginning part of the year, they were consistently averaging double figures. Now we're mixing in the football guys. So we're really kind of a by-committee team, and we go 9 deep. We really don't know who's going to step up each night, and that can be somewhat of a blessing and a curse. We would like to wear teams down with our depth, but when you get to this part of the season, everybody's in pretty good shape, so it's not as easy as it sounds. But we got 9 seniors, so we'll take a pretty big hit after this year, but we've got a great sophomore class coming up, so we're just trying to figure out who can do what in crunch time, and we're a work in process for sure.
Okay, Coach Ladd?
Yeah, we're John Carter obviously is our leader. Still having a great year this year. We've got 2 seniors that lead us. Connor Barnett from the outside. Colin Hensel's given us a good presence in the post this year. He's playing well. And, of course, Jaden Lewis and Ty Carter, our 2 sophomores. And essentially those guys are almost like 2-point guards on the floor. So that's our strong 5. We've sort of developed our bench this year and had an addition of a couple of guys. Wade LaPiccolo's coming off the bench for us, and Ben Mead, and they've done a good job as well. So we're not quite as deep maybe as Ravenwood, but hopefully our 5 can stay out of foul trouble and stay on the floor.
So I want to go back and ask you guys the same question I asked the girls' side coaches. 2 different cultures right now. We have one that's completely on top, established athletically right now, 6A state champions. We have one that is a work in progress, a lot of first-time things happening this year with football, basketball, John Carter being the first ever 1,000-point scorer. You get your first win over Brentwood. So let's talk about right now where you are culturally in your school. Within, does it help, or does it kind of put pressure on the kids, or do you think it enhances what's happening with football being successful and your athletic programs being successful right now, Coach Whitlock?
I really think it's how you approach it. We go with the football kids. When we walk into a tough atmosphere and we go play at Brentwood or go play at Summit or wherever we might be, for those football kids, that's nothing because they played in front of 14,000 people at Tennessee Tech. Last year I kind of felt like we had been down a little bit in football, and after going through that season, emotionally as a school, really, it was just so draining after playing 15 games. I didn't feel we had a whole lot left in the tank. I don't get that same feeling this year. I feel like the student support has been great. With 9 seniors, last year they were able to come back for another year of football. This is it for them. So I think the finality of, having, 10, 15, hopefully 20 games in front of them is kind of a realization that they're coming to and making sure they leave it all on the floor. That's
a very interesting view. I remember us having that discussion last year after the double overtime loss in the championship game. You felt like those guys, that is such an emotional high that everybody went into that game, and then to get beat in that. Now you flip the script and they win, and now you feel totally different. The school's totally different. Things are going. So that's a very interesting viewpoint. What about you guys? Summit, the new kid on the block right now. We know Nolensville's going to open next year, so finally that monkey will be off your back. Summit, right. You're building. Things are happening, man. And right now, Summit basketball is the thing that everybody's wanting to talk about. John Carter's your face of the program right now, 1,000-point scorer. Talk about the culture in the building.
Yeah, we have had a successful year. Football started off and had their best year, and I think that helps the sort of the spirit of the school, like Coach Whitlock was talking about. But we sort of arrived last year in basketball and kind of carried that into this season, and we're sort of the hunted. People are talking about us, they know about us, we can't hide anymore. So we've sort of flipped that around in basketball with not being able to hide from anyone. And but what you forget sometimes is we still are still a very young program and still getting a lot of first, as you said, first time to beat Brentwood last week. And so we sometimes forget that we are still very young and still learning and trying to stay consistent with everything we do. So I think we're there, but we still got a long way to go.
I know that you both have tremendous staffs. I love watching watch you work the games. I love seeing you at practice. I love watching you work with your coaching staffs, and a lot of times they don't get a lot of publicity or talking about, and they do a lot of work for you guys behind the scenes. So if you don't mind, let's talk a little bit about your coaching staffs this year.
Well, we were able to add John Boucher, who was assistant for Dennis King all these years. It's something
defensive guru.
Yes, absolutely. But we talked about that for years because we knew Dennis wouldn't be around forever. And I talked about, if it worked out to where he could come over to Ravenwood. His daughter is a sophomore at Ravenwood. So it just worked out this summer that he was able to come over. He calls the defense. I'm usually kind of a micromanager. I didn't know how I'd feel about that at first, but it's worked out really well. And he's been a big asset. And then Coach Andrew James is kind of our player development guy. He's taken over the freshman and JV programs, and they're practicing together. They do a lot of fundamentals and really trying to develop those younger players. So I've got it pretty good.
He has extreme pride about what he does, too. He has that youthfulness, energy to him. Coach James, it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch your program. I mean,
it's pretty intense. Yeah, so it works out pretty well.
And Coach Boucher and you guys, and I'm glad you said that because I know you well enough now in coaching styles. I'd be the same way. It's hard to give up those reins, but to watch you guys go, and it's kind of like the other night watching Nick Saban and Kiffin give up that stuff, the offensive side, and it works. It works well. The kids respond to it. So
football guys got it figured out. So
yeah,
maybe we'll just
having
follow suit now.
coordinators. Yeah. All right, on your side.
I'd rather not talk about my guys. I'm kidding.
Well, they are some suspect characters.
They
I was
are.
about to call up Adrian. So
yeah, Adrian Wilson. Adrian's had a lot of head coaching experience. Been at Marshall County and Cornersville and several other places. He's a tremendous asset. He's kind of our defensive guy as well. He brought a lot of defensive things to the program. Ben Parker as well. He's our freshman coach, and he's had a lot of head coaching experience as well. So you can't ever put a value on having guys that have had that experience on your staff. It's been a tremendous support to me and the guys.
So we got about 2 minutes left. Let's talk. What are we going to see tonight? What kind of perfect game scenario would you like to see tonight, Coach Whitlock?
Well, whenever we play, you see a lot of offense. So hopefully we can stop them. We couldn't stop them last year. If we can defend the dribble, then we'll have an opportunity to win. This is a game where we have to play well. Summit has a great team, well coached, great players. So if we can play well, then we'll have a chance. If we don't play well, we'll lose. It's very simple.
Coach Ladd?
I agree with Coach Whitlock. We last time we played, it was kind of a shootout, and we were fortunate enough to score more points. We didn't do a very good job of defending them either. So we know we're in for a challenge tonight, and have our hands full.
Defense is overrated, guys. Let's figure out how we're going to get this thing up and down the court.
Just want a big gate, so
it's going to be up and down.
If you want to come see a lot of points, come check us out.
There will be a large gate. I mean, you got to think of you've got a shooter, and the name escapes me. Your shooter,
Zach Erickson.
Well, you got your 1 3-point shooter, and you got Smallwood.
We hit 13 threes on Monday,
exactly.
So everybody can shoot, Coach.
So,
you got to extend your defense all over.
Elon Smallwood. It's interesting in the slashing matchup. You've got Elon Smallwood. You've got John Carter. Both have similar games. Athletes, about the same size. Man, I'm telling you, what better matchup could you have than to watch these two guys go at it? You got Ty Carter in there. Interesting matchup with Ty and some of your point guards at Ravenwood. I mean, wide open. Defense is overrated, so you might as well tell Boucher to take a back seat and just sit down. We're fixing to get this thing out and go.
Get him some popcorn and you can just hang out.
That's right. We're not gonna worry about it. We're gonna get out secondary breaks. If that doesn't happen, we're gonna shoot it before we even get in the sets. Let's just get it out and go, right?
We don't usually have to instruct that. They usually do that on their own. So
yeah, you don't usually
right.
have to give kids the please
right.
speed up speech. They all want to
No need for a shot clock.
Yeah.
No need for a shot clock.
Inside out. Okay. I also have a pretty interesting matchup on the post. How much post play could be coming in tonight? Would it be more offensively, or do you think defensive rebounds coming more play on this?
I think on the glass will be a considerable advantage, hopefully, for the team that wins. Hensel's a great player too. He's kind of been the X factor last few times we played them. So if he has a good game, we're probably in trouble.
All right, you're going to have to show up tonight to see what happens between Ravenwood and Summit at Ravenwood tonight. Tip off at 6 o'clock for the girls. This has been the WCS Coaches Preview Show. We'll see you next time.